Well, I figured it was past time that we should introduce ourselves on our channel. My husband and I both worked for the federal government for most of our careers. While that's super exciting, okay, I'm being sarcastic here, none of that made the cut for putting on YouTube. As a side hustle during the raising a family stage of life, I worked with two professors to teach online chemistry classes for several universities over about 20 years, a little more than 20 years. When we first began teaching online, it was an uphill struggle. Scientists didn't think that we could teach lab classes online. Well, over 20 years later, we proved them wrong, and now the norm is finding that most university classes are providing online offerings. Part of this process was jumping on the technology bandwagon as technology changed and improved. So in 2012, we began posting our lectures and tutorial videos on YouTube for our students only. We were able to successfully teach about 3,000 students per year in introductory chemistry and organic and biochemistry, with the laboratory portion completely online for over 20 years. We started the YouTube channel in 2012 by posting educational lectures and videos for our classes. We taught online chemistry before teaching online university classes was cool or popular. So as technology improved, we added new content to our classes and utilized YouTube for posting our lectures and tutorial help. So I've had a channel for many years, but it was exclusively used for our classes and students. Most of our videos were set to private and only used by our students. Once we discovered how helpful the online content was for our students, we made the decision to make our videos content public. Our channel was a small channel that was growing, but very slowly, and it was small enough that no ads were involved. We didn't make any money from the channel, so it was a great setup for our students. Since our curriculum stayed pretty much the same throughout the years, the only updating we really did is if a chemistry concept was changed by the science community, we modified the existing content. That was about it. Since that time, the channel has been in operation, but with little changes through the years. That's how the YouTube channel began. Well, as far as astronomy goes, as part of a general education requirements in college, I took an astronomy class and loved it. It's the only textbook I kept through the years, wanting to learn more and have access to that book for reference. Lo and behold, after I married my husband and we began living in the same house, I found that he too had only kept that one textbook from his college days. So now we had two copies of the same astronomy book. We obviously had a common interest in the cosmos. As newly marrieds, of course, we had no money to invest in the hobby, which can be a bottomless pit of gadgets, lenses, cases, batteries, trackers, levels, tripods, you name it. So the interest sat dormant for several years. Then one year for Christmas, I bought my husband our first telescope, a Celestron. The number I don't really remember. We used it and learned a lot with that telescope. Mainly, we learned that this hobby wasn't as easy as the astronomy professor made it look. We attended a few star parties, which were fabulous, but added to the overwhelm we felt about it. It was a tight-knit group to break into, and as beginners, we felt dumb and uneasy asking dumb questions. So we went, we saw, and then we went home. We didn't pursue it much at that time. It was too scary and overwhelming. Fast forward a few more years, and we had a little bit more money to spend, so invested in a better Celestron telescope. It was great when we could get it to find stuff, so we invested in a tracker. That too was great when we got it to work. We just didn't know enough to consistently get good success, so it was frustrating and disappointing. So the telescope ended up in the closet for longer and longer periods of time. Well, once you leave it in the closet for a long time, every time you get it out is a new learning curve to remember how to set it up and use it. The cycle repeats. Then a fabulous thing happened: retirement. New revitalization interest in the hobby because now we had time. So we started researching into something a bit easier to use since our days of carrying big bulky boxes of telescope stuff to dark sky areas is in the past. We found the Sea Star, looked too easy and checked off too many boxes that we were a little skeptical. So we looked on YouTube and Google for reviews and info. Well, the $500 investment seemed too reasonable after all the investments over the years, so we went for it. It came a few days later and voila, deep space objects within minutes of setup. Loved the hobby and learning new things. As I began retiring from teaching chemistry, I didn't want all the curriculum and material from our classes to go to waste. We wanted it to be available to help as many students as possible. So we decided to keep all the chemistry videos and tutorials available online and just make them all available and public to everyone. We weren't very interested in adding more chemistry material since that was a bit too much like more work. So we changed the channel description to encompass all science fields and will post science-related content. The science of choice right now is astronomy, and we are loving it. YouTube comments and feedback can be rough. I'm surprised at the strong opinions people have. Mostly good, but some bad. It has made the YouTubing interesting, to say the least. Reinforces the first feelings we had years ago that deterred us from joining a club or asking the questions. Having a channel for over 13 years, I have been surprised how passionately astrophotographers are about the hobby. I love the hobby for fun, but it's obviously serious business for some. I'm not interested in a cyber war with anyone. If you like my content, watch. If you don't, don't. I aim to keep my content lighthearted and fun. If you learn something from my experiences, great, that's a bonus. This is not a job for me, so I can quit whenever it isn't fun anymore. We are not experts. We are not professional astronomers. We are not expert astrophotographers. We are amateurs, relearning stuff and learning new stuff. We're just sharing our journey on YouTube, finding our way and documenting things we learn and hurdles we have tripped over and some we jump over. We don't want anyone to feel like we did with our previous attempts to penetrate the hobby and not dare to ask the silly questions. We all had them or still do have them. We all are just trying to appreciate the hobby in our own ways. Enjoy our content and lighten up if you disagree with any of it. You don't have to prove anything to us about how passionate you are. Good for you. Create a YouTube channel yourself and share your stuff. Wishing clear skies to everybody.